Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. This is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner, joined by Corey Tackman. And Corey, another state tournament preview special. Why don't you introduce our guest?
Yeah, Perham Yellowjackets head girls basketball coach TJ Super on the bus on his way to the state tournament. Coach, congratulations. It's pretty exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited. It's been a really fun season so far.
You know, what are some of those top moments as we get through here? We're going to talk about those in a second. But what I first want to start out with, Coach, is, what was the expectations going into the year? Was section championship something that was at the top of mind? Was it getting to the championship game? What were the expectations you guys had as a team coming into the season? And was state tournament one of them?
Well, I think, the expectation was that we had a lot of talent and that we knew that we had the ability to be good, but we just didn't know how everything was going to work out, how we would gel as a team. And so I think really the first expectation was that, our senior and our 5 juniors were going to be leaders to the younger girls. And starting at that point, we had a good meeting before the year started that talked about a little bit about roles, but about just being like leaders and how we're going to kind of bring this team together. And at that point, it was like, we'll see what our talent is. And those girls really stepped into those roles and were amazing. And, the first game, second game of the year, we're like, wow, we're going to be really good. And at that point, it was like, okay, the talent is where it's at. And now we're starting to really gel as a team. And right away, we were thinking state.
Yeah, that's awesome to have it happen that early. I'm interested, though, because you said you knew you had a lot of talent. What's interesting is that can mean a couple things. A lot of talent can mean a couple girls who are excellent, or it can mean like your roster where you can go 10, 11, 12. Like you have one of the deeper rosters that I've seen in just a really long time. That's a unique, kind of a fun problem to have for you, isn't it?
It really is. And, I think we have, 14 girls that could probably play varsity. And I think we have 4 or 5 girls that don't see the court for us that would be playing for most other teams in our section. And so it's fun, and we're very young besides that. And when you're talking about that, it was sometimes me, sometimes you, always us, because we knew that not only do we have the talent, but there's going to be some games that girls are just in way different roles. And we saw that throughout playoffs. Some girls are on the court at the end of the game and then not playing as much the next game. Some girls are scoring more, or some girls are guarding their best player. And then the next game, we have a couple different girls guarding their best players. So that depth has really been a key factor for us.
Let's go kind of over the course of the season. What have been some moments along the way where that have kind of been a big highlight for you guys throughout the regular season into the section tournament? Are there any games that kind of come to mind as like, hey, those were some fun battles. These are some top moments for us throughout the campaign?
Yeah, we started the year against Breckenridge, who, was ranked in state in Class A, and we're the defending conference champs, and they have a bunch of seniors. They were making a documentary over the season, and we won that game in overtime with a bunch of, like I said, young girls playing a lot of times their first varsity game. And so that would be one. I would say we had a couple games like Proctor. We were ahead by 27 at halftime, and they were ranked, I think, 3rd in the state in QRF at the time. And then after that game, we realized, like, we still have a lot of room to grow. Like, we weren't doing things really well offensively at times, and we could point to our successes and say, this is what we're doing when we're successful. And we did really making changes, and girls bought into stuff every time we offered some advice and offered thoughts on that. And we played a game against Hawley, against my good buddy Jed Carlson's team, and they had a good season. And we were just kind of like ridiculously on fire. And, we had a couple games there where we hit 18 or 19 threes. And so those games stand out. And then honestly, probably the most important one was a loss against Frazee at the end of the year, where we said, we can't get out muscled like this. We need to take rebounding way more seriously. And we started doing that, and through our plan run, we boards, and I don't know if we win the section without doing that.
All right, well, let's talk about that section championship game and talking about needing a little more physicality, especially against with what the Rebels bring to the table. Coach, what were some highlights, some keys for you in that section championship that gets you to this bus ride here today?
Well, I mean, I think everyone knows that we, are probably known for shooting threes, and, we kind of changed strategy in that game. And, you look at the stats at the end of the game, and DGF actually made more threes than us. They shot a better percent than us, and they even shot a better percentage from two than us. But we had more points in the paint, and we had 11 more offensive rebounds than they did, and out-rebounded them by 15, I think it was. And I would venture a guess that DGF didn't get out-rebounded by hardly anybody this year. They're a great team, and they're physical, and we're pretty small. And for us to do that, and you look at a girl like Sophie Nelson with 8 or 9 boards and a bunch of offensive rebounds, it just shows the capabilities that we have to do things like that. And then obviously getting Kai Anderson the ball and just basically saying, like, all right, let's go. Do what you do. And she did what she did, and there we go. Now here we are on the bus.
And, you talk about that rebounding and having to get better at it. And even though you don't always have the size advantage, in your eyes, what makes a good rebounder? What are the qualities that a good rebounder has, especially if they're don't have the physical advantage? And what did your team do? What does your team share with kind of those qualities?
Well, I think we have a lot of girls that pursue the ball and are, we're obviously very athletic and quick. And so girls do a really good job of reading where the ball's going to go, and then they pursue the ball really well. And you know what? We have girls that are physical. They're just not maybe built that way where they're going to out-muscle girls or have the size advantage. But we still work really hard on rebounding and getting things going well. I mean, our assistant coach, Robbie Cox, is like the dictator of rebounding, and he's got these girls rebounding at a high level.
What can you tell? Oh, go ahead, CJ. Sorry.
I was going to say, I don't want to bury the lead here because I know we've been talking about this a lot and a lot of the great things your team does, but you guys have shot a lot of threes. You've made a lot of threes this season. And I know we were talking before that section championship game. You guys are on a historic pace. Just give the people listening some context on where you guys are at in terms of total threes made in a season.
I mean, we knew, and we've done this, 2 of the previous 3 years we had led the state in threes made per game, but the statistics kind of played out that we were actually hurting ourselves by not shooting more threes. And so we determined that this is what we were going to do, and this is who we're going to be, and it's already the way we run our offense. And so we have 6 girls, I think, that are shooting over 40% from 3. I think we have 10 girls that are shooting over 35%. And, we've made 329 threes, which is 3rd all time in the history of the state. And, we're looking at 343 as the next number to go get. And obviously on Mountain Iron Buell has the record at 380, and they played 33 games, I think, that year. And if we play 3 down at state, we'll only get 31 games. And so I think we, might end up with depending on how it goes, we could end up with the most per game, even if we don't get that final number of Mountain Iron Buell. But if we are to win state, then it probably means that we made a bunch of them down here too. So either way, the girls, I mean, they just spend so much time in the gym. They're on the gun, and our administration is amazing at letting our girls access the gym all summer long. It's open. I talk to coaches around the state, and they are talking about how their gym is locked all the time, and they basically have to be there the whole time. And that's not the way our school is. Our AD, our principal, and our superintendent are quite amazing at having the gym be accessible, and our girls spend a lot of time in there. We wear out a lot of basketballs.
Tell me a little bit about Rochester Lourdes.
Well, we know they're good, and they're kind of a 3-headed monster, and with their scoring, and they have a really, really good senior center who doesn't really play back to the basket all the time, but she's averaging 20 a game. She's all state honorable mention, and they have a really good point guard, and then they have a really good 3-point shooter. And so in a way, they're kind of structured a little bit like us. in the sense that they have a strong point guard play, a strong post presence, and a really good shooter. It's hard to tell exactly how good they are, or what the competition. They played Red Wing and Goodhue, two powerful schools all the time, but we like the matchup in the sense that we're going down there, and last time we were going down we played Providence. So if you're not playing Providence first round, you're already in a better spot. But this game isn't going to be about them. It's going to be more about us being us, and we're going to go down there and hopefully be us, and let the chips fall where they may.
What does a successful state tournament look like to you guys? Obviously, you want to win all your games. That's a given. But for the things on the court to happen, for you guys to be successful down at the state tournament, what has to happen?
Well, I don't know that a successful state tournament has anything to do with what's on the court, actually. Like, our girls, if you listen to their interviews after the section championship, excited about being section champs, but more excited about having an extra week and being a part of this team and having fun with each other. And that's one of the things that I think we've done a great job. Like I said, we brought in the juniors and our one senior before the season and said, we need you guys to be leaders. And we have another great assistant coach, Michelle Borman, that runs our teamwork stuff. And we dedicate time and practice to it. And we do a whole bunch of activities, and they have buddies and they love their buddy time. And we do stuff that's just kind of maybe a little bit different than what other programs do. And so, obviously we want to go win this first one, and we want a shot at Providence, and we want all that stuff related to basketball, but we're on the bus together. We're having fun. We're going to be going down and practicing with each other. We're going to have fun at the banquet. When we get introduced on Williams Arena, we're going to have fun there, and win or lose, it's going to be a fun experience because this group of girls is kind of amazing.
And quickly here, just to piggyback off of that, the leadership, even just in the limited time I've seen of some of these section tournament games, Kai Anderson, there was a moment in the game where, a girl turns the ball over and she looks at her and gives her that reassurance. And even as she goes to the bench, is looking at her hey, we need you, keep your head up, all this stuff. What does that show to the testament of her and those juniors that they've been able to guide along this very young team?
Well, I think there is a true and genuine care for each other. I think you hear it a lot. Basketball teams break their huddle with family, but I don't know if they actually believe in it. And I think we do. And I think that our girls really trust in each other, and the fact that if they screw up, it's fine. We're going to try correct mistakes, but we're not going to just yell at people for making mistakes. And we don't want our teammates to do that. And we just want to be there for each other. And I think it has proven out. Like I said, we have girls in all sorts of different roles. I think we've had 6 girls lead us in scoring at some point in time. And, Kai Anderson's amazing, but we had a game where we scored 90 and she scored 5. And Reagan Hamburger's out there and hits 11 threes, and you go, well, who had the most assists that night to Reagan? Well, it was Kai. And so I just think that plays out not just in little moments of leadership, but it plays out actually in the moments where people maybe would lose their morals and their principles and say, well, at the end of the game, I want the shot. Or if things aren't going well, it's got to be me. I don't think we have a single girl that says that or thinks that way.
All right, before we let you get out of here, I'm going to put you on the spot. You're also a social studies teacher. So you're getting ready for your motivational speech in the locker room before the game. You got to pull one comparison from American history. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor from Animal House? Where are you going with your history speech?
Well, I think if you know me at all, maybe that might be the one, just because we are not very serious. We're going to the banquet tonight, and the girls will probably try to get me to speak in a British or Australian accent when I introduce the team. That's been done before. For starting lineups, I've kind of hammered on this a little bit here, but for starting lineups for the state basketball tournament, they want us to step out and take a little wave. I don't know a single basketball game in America that starts that way. And I'm like, the girls want to have fun. And so, you know what? They're probably going to have fun, and that's what's going to happen. And so, I don't know what the speech will be. I don't prepare anything ahead of time, whatever. I I can tell you if we're lucky enough to win this game tonight, Wednesday night in the quarterfinals, and we get a shot at Providence, I do know that the Miracle on Ice was a semifinal matchup versus Russia. So we might have something a little bit at least prepared for that one, but we got to get there first, and we're just going to have some fun here tonight.
Perham head girls basketball coach TJ Stuper joining us on the Morning Sports Desk 2026 State Girls Basketball Tournament Preview Special. Coach, congrats again on the section title. Best of luck in the tournament, and look forward to hearing how it all went out.
Sounds good. Thank you. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We hope people tune in if they're not able to get there, but we hope we can get a whole bunch of people down at the barn ready to watch us.
The Morning Sports Desk presented by the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in beautiful downtown Wadena, where for the month of March, enjoy their Pizza of the Month. Talk about an unbelievable value. A large Bronco pizza for just $13. $13 the Bronco pizza. Your March Pizza of the Month at Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in downtown Wadena.
Want to once again appreciate Coach Super for hopping on the show and talking with us. They are taking on Rochester Lourdes in that quarterfinal match on 8 o'clock on Wednesday night at Williams Arena in St. Paul. And if they win, they will take on most likely Providence Academy, and Central is that other game that's happening there. We talked about it all on Monday's episode of the Morning Sports Desk, so go back and listen to that. This is the Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in downtown Wadena.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.